Hey everybody, this is Marcus Crawford with the Idaho Quadcopter channel. Hey, it is a cold day today. I am out at the viewpoint at Lucky Peak Reservoir, and it's about 33 degrees right now. So it's a blue sky day. Yeah, I don't know, a few high clouds, but mostly a blue sky day. But boy, it's definitely cold. At 33 degrees, that is just above the temperature that DJI specifies as the minimum temperature for the Mini 2 and the DJI original Mavic Mini. So the purpose of this today is, this flight today, is I'm going to take both of those drones, the original Mavic Mini and the Mini 2, and I'm going to put them up in the air here at Lucky Peak, and we're going to compare video quality. Yeah, I mean, it should be interesting. We'll shoot with the Mavic Mini, of course, in 2.7K 30 frames per second, and with the Mini 2 in 4K 30 frames per second. And we'll just take them out over the lake here and look around a little bit. There's virtually no wind. I mean, I think the UAV forecast is something like 4-mile-an-hour winds. I don't think it's even that, which is unusual for this area. So it's a perfect day to fly those the minis wind-wise. Temperature-wise, we're going to be right on the very bleeding edge of the lower end of what DJI recommends. Now, in my experience, what you can see sometimes is when you get into lower temperatures, you can get a little bit of gimbal shake. So we'll look at that, and I attribute that to, you know, the silicone rubbers that holds that gimbal in place. I think it's colder and they just don't move like they normally would, and you might get a little shake. Hopefully we won't see that, but it's possible. So in any case, let's quit messing around and let's get these birds in the air. Hey, one more thing I do want to show you for the Mini 2. I'm going to be using my new setup here. I've got the iPad Mini 5, and then I have a mount that I bought off of Etsy that is pretty slick. It's even got a lanyard hole there, although I forgot to bring my lanyard with me today. But it's kind of a slick setup. The only thing I'll say is it's top heavy, so it's top heavy. You really need that lanyard, because basically I'm going to be thumbing it because it's so top heavy, it's going to be hard to pinch with this guy. And man, I'll tell you what, it is cold. My fingers are freezing. Okay, let's quit messing around. Let's get these birds in the air. Okay, I've got the Mini 2 ready to go here. First thing we're going to do is we're going to look in the safety menu and make sure everything is as it should be. And yeah, we've got the return to home altitude. I'm going to kick that up a little bit. I'm going to put it about 70 meters. And we've got the max altitude at 120 meters. I'm going to move that down just a tad to about 116 meters. And not to put too fine of a point on it, but I've found that sometimes if you've got it set right at that limit, sometimes the wind and so forth can blow it just a little bit above 400 feet. So, you know, I typically don't fly that high anyway, so I'm setting it a little bit lower. So yeah, compass is normal, IMU is normal. It looks like everything is good here. We can take a look at the battery real quick. Yeah, battery's good. So we're good to go. Let's take a look. We're in 4K 30 frames per second, so we're already good there. So I'm going to go ahead and start recording, and I see no reason why we can't take off now. So we are going to hit takeoff right now on the app. So again, we just hold down that middle button on the app and off it goes. So, you know, as we expect, and yeah, we know we're in a 150 meter zone here, and obviously we're not going to go any higher than that. So we're going to click OK on that. And let's turn the drone around here. And we'll get our usual, we'll do our usual droney, but let me move it in front of the camera here a little bit and jig it back and forth like I always do. That way you get to see that gimbal in action and make sure that that gimbal is working like it should. So I want to put the back of the drone to the sun. And I'm going to drop the camera down here just a little bit. So we'll end up with more of that rule of thirds. And we're going to do our manual droney right now. So reverse and up now. And boy, I'll tell you what, until you fly a DJI drone, boy, these things just fly so well. And you know, I'm looking at it on this Mini 5 and it really gives you a good view. You get a lot bigger picture than you do with your mobile device. So we'll go out there, I don't know, 350 meters or so. Yeah, there's right almost 350 meters. And so you're getting a good look at the viewpoint here that I fly from, and I just love this spot. It's just such a scenic place to fly from. And like I said, as you can see, it's a blue sky day. We're going to yaw around here and we'll go up the reservoir a little bit. And I'm going to try and hold a steady speed so that when we compare the video on these drones, we're comparing apples to apples. Let me get that in just a little bit. So, you know, I'm going to put it in, I had it in sport mode there. I didn't realize that. I'm going to put the drone in Cinesmooth mode and let's go, I'm just going to go full throttle forward. And I think that takes us up to about 5 meters per second. So yeah, that's about 12 miles an hour or so. And that'll get us to kind of, maybe I can get a similar speed with the original Mini. I'm going to adjust the heading here just a little bit. I'm going to try and keep the center of the lake right there in the middle of the screen. And I don't know if that's me cross-coupling a little bit, but adjusting that heading again. And we'll stop at about 600 meters. Yeah, we're just about there. Okay. You know, there must be a wind up there because my hands are off the sticks and the drone was yawing just a little bit. That's kind of interesting. I had my hands completely off the sticks and the drone, when you saw that yaw to the right, that was without me touching the sticks. So we've, let's take a look. Let's see if we can take a look at this picnic site up here. I'm going to go back into normal mode. And we'll see if we can, I'll try and hold about 10 meters a second or so, roughly. And we'll see how close we can get to this. You know, in the summertime, like, you know, the lake's up that high and people stop there in their boats. And, you know, there, but you can see the dock there. They're able to dock there, and there's a picnic area, and I think there's even restrooms out there. I think people camp at these places and look them over. And it's almost, you know, almost directly across from the viewpoint here that we're looking at there. We'll lower the gimbal down. But I just think it's a pretty cool feature that they built into this reservoir for folks to be able to recreate in the summertime. And you know, you're out there on your boat, you got a little shade, you can throw out the picnic. And let's slow down and pick the camera back up, and you will see the side of the mountain here. So we don't want to go, we'll smack right into the side of the mountain if we keep going. So let's turn it around. And it's interesting to see how low the reservoir is. They really drained it down. Okay, let's come back towards us. And I'm going to try and duplicate this same flight with the original Mavic Mini. That was kind of curious, the way when I was off the sticks there, that the drone continued to yaw a little bit to the right. I don't know if that was wind or what. I've never experienced that before. So we're coming back at about 10 meters per second, and the sun is really low in the sky, and it's basically off to the drone's left there. It's kind of in the southeast sky right now. It's about 11 a.m. in the morning here. And it's amazing, even though it's cold, it doesn't feel that bad right now because I'm in direct sunlight. That sun really makes a difference. And like I said, we're coming back at about 10 meters per second, and we'll just do a quick overflight of the viewpoint here. They are not putting much water at all down the river, so it kind of tells me that maybe they've taken out as much water as they want to right now. Although we've had a fair amount of precipitation, so there's already, I think, some pretty good snowpack in the mountains. And that's me yawing to the right a little bit. And we're not going to go over the dam, but we're going to do a little short overflight of the viewpoint here. And I'll see if I can drop the gimbal down as we go. And that's me standing there. Nobody else here today. And the drone's right over the top of us. And I think you could walk right down to the dam, level of the dam there right now if you wanted to. I think you could hike down there. In fact, I think I've seen people do it. Okay, we're going to turn around. The dam and the power plant area is definitely a no-fly zone, so we're going to stay away from there. And we're kind of headed directly into the sun right now. So this, I don't know, it's probably not a bad idea. Kind of give you a little bit of an idea of how the camera on the Mini works in the sun. And we're down to about 60% battery. And you saw we're in an altitude zone here, so what that is it's part of the flyway into the Boise airport, but we're probably a good 10 or 12 miles from the airport where we're at right here. But you know, obviously we're not even close to that kind of height, so we're at about 61 meters. And this is the boat ramp, and there are people that boat. Believe it or not, they boat and water ski here year-round. There are some pretty hardy folks that put on their wetsuits and or dry suits, whatever it is, and they'll water ski here in the middle of winter. I've seen it happen, and they'll fish here too. Okay, we're going to slowly turn it around and bring it back. Boy, it's just a beautiful day for a flight today. I just love these blue sky days. And there we are. So we're coming back to the viewpoint, and I've got something in mind that I want to do here when we get back. I'm going to do an orbit, and we'll do that with both drones, so we can kind of compare that too. So what I'll do when I get the Mavic Mini out is I will try and duplicate this flight just as close as I can. Not saying we'll be able to get it exactly, but we'll give it our best shot. Okay, I'm going to drop some altitude here. We'll bring this guy in. Going to have to get closer than that, I think. And I'm looking right into the sun, trying to look up at the drone here. So I don't know if I'm close enough. We're going to try it here. I need to get some more altitude because we need to make sure we clear everything here. And I don't know if I'll be able to do, let's back it off a little. I don't know if I'll be able to do as big of an orbit as I want, but let's give it a try. So I'm going to get out of, let's see, we're out about 31 meters, about 30 meters, and we're about 14 meters high. That should be high enough. Let's kick it up just a little. Discretion is the better part of valor. And I'm going to stop recording. And we're going to hit on that film strip. We're going to go into quick shots, and we're going to try a circle, and we'll see. Yeah, it's got me. So the thing is, I don't know if the original Mini will be able to do this, but we'll try it. So we're going to start here, and it will start recording automatically. And I forgot, it'll record in 1080. I didn't tell it to do the quick shot in 4K, so this will be a 1080 quick shot. And I'm going to watch the drone all the way around here. I always I like the way it increases in speed as it does its orbit. I always thought that was pretty darn cool. So I noticed that we were out about 30 meters, so it was a little bit oblong, and it kind of lost the center of the circle there. And now it's back to where it started, so about 34 meters out. Okay. Well, we've got plenty of battery. I think we should do a Helix too. Why not, right? Let's do a 60-meter Helix. And I'm going to center the thing on me again. And again, I think this will be too far away for the original Mini to duplicate. But we'll try it when we get it up in the air. And the drone is slowly starting its corkscrew, and it'll increase in altitude as it goes. It'll move away, and it'll increase in altitude, and it will increase in speed. And all the while trying to keep us in the center of frame. And I see it's not quite. It's, what I'll say about this little drone is that when it comes to these quick shots, the closer you are when you start them, the more accurate it'll be. But there it goes, and it's almost back to its starting point here. And it moved way up there. And boy, you can see it's still, it kind of got us back in center again. And now it'll return to its starting point. Okay, so we have got enough battery here that I'm going to try one more thing. I just thought of it while I was standing here. I'm going to go start recording again. We're going to go back into video. We're 4K, 30 frames per second. Start video. And I'm going to flip this baby into sport mode. We're going to turn around and look back out towards the reservoir. I am going to lift the camera up here a little bit. And I've got an aircraft off in the distance there, but that is a passenger aircraft, and he is way higher than we are. Okay, so we're going to go full stick forward here, and I want to see, maybe we can compare the top speed of these two drones. So, and boy, I'll tell you what, as soon as I kicked that thing in gear, that baby tilted forward and took off. And we are at, let's see if we can get to 16 meters per second. Not quite. I think I saw 15.7, something like that. Boy, I'll tell you what, this thing is hauling the mail, isn't it? Okay, let's, yeah, you saw as soon as I let off the stick there. Yeah, so it wants to come home, so we're going to confirm. Let's just let it do its own return to home here, and I apologize for the beep. I wish DJI would give us a way to reduce that. So what it'll see it do now is it'll ascend to the 70 meters that we set the return to home height at. And I set that return to home height high because of that peninsula you see off to the left there. If, you know, for some reason we got behind that, I just want to make sure the drone is high enough, or you'd see it on the right of the screen here now, but I want to make sure that the drone would be high enough to miss anything like that. So here it comes. Now this drone does not have precision landing, but we got lots of room here and we're on pavement, so let's see how close it comes. I'll only get involved and take it out of auto landing if it looks like it's going to, you know, land someplace that it shouldn't. Boy, I got to tell you, these DJI drones are just always such a pleasure to fly. And of course, it never fails when you're coming in for a landing. Here comes a car. But here we come, and I'm dropping the gimbal down as we go. And boy, it came to a stop, and you could see that gimbal kind of move around there as the drone came to a stop. And it's coming in for a landing. Boy, you know, when you'll find when you're doing this kind of thing, you got your tripod set up and everything, everybody's looking to see what you're doing, which is only natural. So look at this, is going to be pretty darn accurate. It's coming right down about the takeoff point. So I think if I'd had a landing pad down there, it might even hit it. Pretty darn close. Yeah, I moved it up a little bit. It was a little too close to the Armco there. Okay, we'll let it land now. Now let's see if it'll return to landing mode. It didn't, so I'm gonna put it in landing mode. Holding the stick down. And there. Let me get this guy shut down, and then we'll put the DJI Mavic Mini in the air. That is to say, the Mini 1. Okay, I'm getting the Mavic Mini fired up here, or the original Mavic Mini, if that's what you want to call it, or Mini. And I'm using my iPhone. I realized I wanted to use the iPad, the Mini 5, but I realized that I didn't have a long enough OTG cable to do it. So having to use use my iPhone, which is fine. And it's asking for a compass calibration, so we'll do that real quick. While we're in here, I'm going to set the max altitude again, like we talked about before. I'm going to set it down just a little bit below 120. That's kind of sensitive there. Yeah, 117, that's good. And return to home height, I've got it at 100 meters. Don't need that, or that was with that last app update. So we'll go back down a little bit. 71 will do. Let's crank that up, and let me do the calibration now on the compass. While we're at it, I'm going to format the SD card. Yeah, confirm. Okay, we're good there. Let's hit that calibration. So with regard to that compass calibration, so when I did the vertical calibration, I had the camera pointed up, which is how the diagram shows you on the app. Now, I've heard a lot of people say to point that, to point the camera down, and that's easier on the gimbal. It may well be, but DJI shows that diagram pretty clearly with it pointed up, so that's the way I do it. I'm not saying it's right or wrong, I'm just saying that's the reason that I do that. Let's go ahead and go into safety again, just to double check and make sure everything's where it needs to be. IMU is normal, compass is normal, battery info looking good. So yeah, no reason for us not to take off. Let's, excuse me, meant to go into the camera menu, make sure we're set on 2.7K 30. And we are. And we are in P mode. I'm going to put it into sport mode in a little bit here, because that's what we were when we first took off in the Mini 2. So we're recording. I see no reason why we shouldn't take off. And again, we just hold down that middle button. And it's kind of weird. I feel like I'm flying the same drone, and it's giving us that same warning about Gowan Field there. 150 meters is what we're limited to. So let's bring it in here, and we'll shake it back and forth, so you get a good look at that gimbal in action. And I am going to, I'm trying to get the drones back pointed at the sun here. And I'm going to drop the gimbal down a little bit. And we're going to put it in sport mode, which is a little different on this guy. You got to do it in the app. So touched on the P mode at the top now. Now we're in sport mode. So we're going to go reverse and up now. And again, the drone just handles beautifully. And there it's telling us that you've got the 150 meter altitude limit. I think we went out here about 350 meters or so, as I recall. And we're more than that now, so I went a little bit too far. I was looking at my altitude and not watching the distance. And I see our battery's already down to 88%, so we may not get the same battery life out of this guy for whatever reason. Not sure. So we're centered on the middle of the lake there. And we're going to go, I'm going to put it into cinema mode like we did with the other drone. And we're going full stick forward. And let's see if that's about the same speed. It's a little slower because on the Mini 2, it was about 5 meters per second, and it's about 4 meters per second on this guy. That's interesting. So I'm going to click us up into normal mode here, or P mode, and see if I can hold it a little bit faster, because I kind of want to try and be comparable with the speed that we did on the Mini 2. It looks like it's not going to be quite the same, but... And we went out about 600 meters, and then we turned towards the picnic area there, so we'll do the same thing. So this won't be exactly the same speed, but hopefully close enough that we can get a look at the video on these drones. And like I said, at one point, I'm not sure where in the video, when I edit it, I'm going to put them side by side without identifying them, and see if you can tell the difference, or maybe even one at a time. So 600 meters, I think, is about what we went out with the Mini 2. And you know, we must have been further, because it sure seemed like we were closer to that picnic area, but I could have a defective memory. Anyway, let's head straight out there and go over the top of that, just like we did with the other drone. And this guy, top speed in P mode, is about 8 meters per second, and I think with the Mini 2, we were about 10 meters per second. So it looks like in each mode, it is definitely faster. Those more powerful motors there, we hit 8 meters per second there. So that's about 18, 19 miles an hour, something like that. And of course, you know, I'm just thinking back when I was flying the Mini 2, we had a little drift when we let off the throttle, and we're not getting that on this one. And that's me dropping the gimbal down as we go over the top of this little picnic area here. I'm going to grab some altitude, make sure we're high enough. And we'll drop the camera, slow down a little bit, and drop the camera as we go over. Weak signal, so that's the difference between OcuSync 2. Yep. And we lost connection, and I'm pointed directly at the drone here. So there, we got it back. So that's kind of interesting. Yeah, I was pointed directly at the drone, and which is unusual to lose signal even on this guy. Typically, it's better than that. So let's pick the camera back up. And there we're looking at the mountains. So I'm going to turn around, and I'm going to head back this direction. And we're going to go right over the top of us here. And there you see the viewpoint where we're at there. And let's kick it in gear here. And come right on back. Adjusting our heading just a little bit, and we'll go right over the top of us. And again, we're about 8 meters per second. So the speeds on these two drones is going to be just a little bit different. And I have the antenna pointed directly at the drone. I don't think I've ever seen that kind of a weak signal from this drone this close before. And I'm adjusting the yaw there a little bit to get us on the right vector, so it'll come right over the top of us. I'm telling you, these DJI drones are just a pleasure to fly. So consistent. You know, it's interesting, using these controllers back to back. I like that new controller because it is puts your FPV above the controller. But I can tell you, this smaller controller is lighter and easier to handle. But what I always complained about this controller, is how you know, just getting your phone in there can be awkward sometimes. There we're getting that weak signal again, and again I'm pointed directly at the drone. So I don't know what that's about. Haven't had that issue before. And let me adjust our heading here just a little. And that was me kind of adjusting our heading a little bit. And here it comes. It's amazing the difference in tone in these two drones. You can actually hear the difference. And there we are. That's the viewpoint. And there again is the dam that we are not going to go over the top of, because that is, well, as you get towards the power plant, that is absolutely a no-fly zone. So we are going to stay well away from that. But we are going to yaw around here, and again, we're going to be going into the sun, and I can even see a little bit of prop shadow on FPV right there, and some lens flare. And you can see the reflection of the sun in the lake. And we're going to head straight for the dock there. So you'll see that. And that's me adjusting the heading there just a little. I think I was doing some cross coupling there with the and it's funny, I'm looking at over there at the dock, and the sound is carrying. I can hear people down there talking. I can't hear what they're saying, but I can definitely hear they're having a conversation. And it's funny on a still day, like how the sound carries. And we're down to about 50% battery. And of course, we're just not getting, this is a little bit slower than the Mini 2, because we're just not getting the same speed. Looks like those folks are driving a little bit cross country there. Let's, boy, I wish I had the zoom capability. I'm dropping the gimbal down so we can kind of see what the heck they're doing. Almost looks like he was going to go in the water there, didn't it? Okay, let's turn around. I'll pick that gimbal back up. We're going to turn around and come back just like we did with the Mini 2. The difference there is we stopped to take a look and see what that guy was doing. And there we are at the on the viewpoint. And that was me pointed away from the drone with the antenna. I wasn't exactly pointed right at the drone. And when we get back here, we'll try and do just what we did with the Mini 2, and see if we can do an orbit. Although I know that this guy, you're gonna have to start that orbit a lot closer to us, but so it may not be one for one exactly like we saw with the Mini 2, but we'll do the best we can. And I mean, the drone is just performing great. Gosh, like I said, I always just really enjoy flying DJI drones, because they perform so well and so consistently. Okay, I'm going to drop a little altitude. I think we were at 30 meters with the other one, something like that. So that's pretty close. Maybe it was less than that. Must have been less than that. And see, I can tell you for certain, and I'm trying to look at the drone, but I'm looking right into the sun. Well, let's try it from there and see what we can do. But I think that the AI on this drone may not be able to handle it. So we're going to turn off recording. We're going to click on that little film strip. We're going to go into quick shots. We're going to click on circle. I am going to do a big box so it's got a big target there around my vehicle. And let's click start. And let's see how it does. And there it's starting. We've got a jet aircraft way high above us. And it's doing it. So this is better than I thought we would do. This is about the same distance I think we were. Maybe even a little further than we were. In fact, I think it is a little further than we were with the Mini 2. And the drone is, heck, might even be doing a little better job than the Mini 2 did. It's holding us pretty much center of frame. And I think kind of what helped is that instead of drawing the box around, I drew a really big box around the vehicle. So it did fine. That was great. And look, I noticed how that center is getting bigger, but that's all right. It's almost done here. So it stopped right there. So we're going to, we got plenty of battery, so let's do that. Let's go ahead and do a Helix. I'm trying to click on that spot. There we go, Helix. And we did a 60 meter. This one only has a 40 meter, so that's going to have to do. Let's draw that box again. We're going to click start. So this is going to be a little bit tighter than what the Mini 2 was. The Mini 2 allowed us to do a 60 meter Helix, and the maximum on this one was a 40 meter. But that's okay. It'll be pretty close. And then when we're done with that, we'll throw this guy into sport mode just like we did with the Mini 2, and we'll head back out over the lake, and we got hopefully just enough battery that we'll be able to go for a little ways and get an idea of top speed to top speed. As I recall, this one is about 12 meters per second or maybe 13. God, it's doing great with the Helix too. Yeah, that worked out perfectly. Yeah, good job, DJI. So it's going to return to its starting spot. Which shouldn't take it long. And of course, I'm looking right at into the sun, trying to see it. Okay, there we are. So we're going to click on that Helix again. We're going to go back into video, and we are going to start recording. And then I'm going to go into sport mode here. Tapped in the corner there once, and we are going to turn out towards the reservoir, just like we did with the Mini 2. We'll pick up that gimbal so we kind of get a little bit better shot. Pick it up just a little bit more and full stick forward, and let's see what we get up to in speed. And boy, the drone, I mean, it takes right off. Low battery voltage, fly with caution. So yeah, as soon as we hit in sport mode there, so yeah, so 12 meters per second. So yeah, I'm going to fly with caution. I'm going to take their advice when you see a warning like that, and let's I'm going to hit I'm going to confirm return to home, and let's let it come back. Yeah, no point in pressing our luck. When you get a warning like that, heed the warning. I think is probably good advice. So it's ascending to its altitude. So just for the fun of it, while it's doing that, let's see if we can look at battery info here. And see, yeah, 3.26. Okay, they're consistent, so yeah, I think we're okay, but that was interesting. And it's coming back here. Let's drop the gimbal down. And just like with that last landing, as soon as we're bringing the drone in, we get a car coming around the corner. but hopefully, let's see how close this guy gets. Yeah, that looks pretty close. So again, if it doesn't look like it's, yeah, no, I think we're going to be fine. And this guy should pick up the camera. I'm just going to let it pick up the camera on its own. Yeah, I think this guy is even a little closer to its takeoff point than the other drone was. So it's just about here. Yeah. Here it comes. And there we go, and that was in, I had the drone in sport mode. I still had it in sport mode. So that's kind of interesting because I've had people tell me that when you land like that in sport mode, that the bottom sensor is off and that you can get a hard landing. But that clearly wasn't the case here because it landed perfectly softly, just right. So again, we're gonna remember to stop recording before we shut the guy down, so that we save that file. And let me pick up the drone, get everything shut down, and we'll do a quick conclusion. Hey, okay, guys. So we have the DJI Mavic Mini and the DJI Mini 2. God, what a great day to fly today. It was a fairly cool day. I'm sure it's warmed up a little bit now. When we started, it was about 33 degrees. I suspect it's got to be getting close to 40 now. It feels significantly warmer. But it was fun flying these two guys back to back like this, because you could really kind of get a feel for the difference between the two drones and the difference between the two controllers. And flying them back to back, I'm not so sure that I didn't like the original controller more. I'm not going to say that definitively, but I can tell you it's much lighter and in some ways easier to handle. So anyway, just kind of interesting, you know, to see them back to back. So performance-wise, you know, just as you would expect, the Mini 2 is just a little bit faster in all modes. And, you know, other than that, as far as when the drones are in the air and you're turning them and flying them, they feel about the same. The other surprise to me was how well the original Mini did when we did the quick shots, the Circle and the Helix. In some ways, I think it held the center of frame better than the Mini 2 did. Now that could be the way I drew the point of interest on the screen, right? So, you know, we could try it again and maybe we'd get a different result. But the other thing that I noticed is battery-wise, they were pretty close. So I guess what I'm going to tell you is it's hard to go wrong with either drone. And if you already have a Mavic Mini, or you've got an opportunity to buy the original DJI Mavic Mini, and you're thinking, oh gosh, I should wait and spend more money on the Mini 2. Well, if you can, that's great. But if all you have is enough money for the original Mini, it's still an awesome little drone, and I think we kind of proved that today. Yeah, and it was just, man, just a great day to fly. Nice blue sky day, and even in the middle of winter here, it's amazing how often you can get out and fly and have a good time. So anyway, I'll get a look at that video off the SD card when I get home. You guys will have already seen it, and you can draw your own conclusions. Obviously, because this guy's 4K, the Mini 2, I think it's going to look better, but it'll be interesting to see how much better or not it looks than the 2.7K on the original Mini. And what I will say is when I render the video, I will render it in 4K 30. So kind of give you an idea there of the difference. But so this will be shooting in 2.7K, but when I render it in editing. It'll be up converted to 4K, but you still should be able to see a difference. Probably more information than you wanted. So I guess that's about it. This is Marcus Crawford with the Idaho Quadcopter channel out. And if you like this kind of content, please consider subscribing to my channel. And really, I just appreciate you taking the time to look at this video today. And yeah, you know, we're still, it's in the middle of December and we still got COVID and all kinds of other things going on. But, you know, if you can, get out and fly your drone and have fun and be safe. And, of course, we'll see you on the next one. See you later, folks. Bye.